Good morning. At least it is morning here in Kansas, and it is a beautiful morning. Welcome to my meditation. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Deborah Baker. And today we are going to focus on listening. And by listening, I mean listening to that still small voice inside of us, the voice of the universe, the voice of the one presence and the one power. Last week we talked about seeing, and really what I mean by that is visualizing. So in essence, that meditation was focused on asking the universe for what we need, for what we want, kind of putting in our orders. And this week is about listening for the response to that, or the response to anything, or maybe even not a response, just a message. So let's begin with our 3 really nice deep breaths. Breathe all the way down into your tailbone. Feel your shoulders sink down a little as you take that breath. And one more, the deepest breath you've taken all day. It was interesting, earlier this morning I was sitting outside with 2 of my precious grandchildren, and we noticed that there weren't very many birds. And here it is just a little bit later in the morning, and I hear a few of them. I would think that the birds would be out first thing, but who knows? Again, listening. So we know that in order to meditate, it helps to relax our bodies first. So they're suggesting that we take a different tack this morning. So breathe in, and this time breathe all the way into your feet. And imagine that your breath goes all the way into your feet, all the way to the tips of your toes. And as you breathe back out, you grab onto anything that no longer serves you. Stress, tension. You grab onto it, and it goes out with your exhalation. Relaxing your feet. Somebody's chewing on a stick. Daisy, you don't need sticks. That might hurt you. Yeah, good girl. And now breathe into your ankles and your lower legs, your calves and your shins. And then as you exhale, notice that the breath goes all the way to the tip of your toes and grabs everything through your feet, your ankles, and your lower legs, and releases. Now this time we'll send that breath to our knees, and then all the way down the rest of our legs, and then let it go. And while we are doing this, let's consciously slow down our breathing. And now this next breath is into your upper legs. Really deep breath. Imagining just that breath just going in and setting this sense of relaxation all the way through your upper legs. Grabbing onto what no longer serves us. Maybe some soreness, maybe some stiffness. And just letting it go. And so notice now from the tops of your legs all the way to the tip of your toes, your body being relaxed. Maybe you stretch out a little bit. Stretch your legs out a little bit. And now let's breathe into the tailbone, the pelvic floor, around your sit bones. And then release. Allow all of what no longer serves you, and anything that is not pure relaxation, to come out. thing about doing meditations outside in the summer is the bugs. So if I seem a little squirmy, it's because, and maybe I'm just imagining bugs on me. So now the whole pelvis, breathe into your pelvis. Imagine that breath just expanding your pelvic bones. So if they're held tightly, if you feel like all of your hip bones are pulling in tight, breathe in, and then as you breathe out, just let them relax. I remember when I was pregnant, the doctor or some of the medical stuff I was reading saying that there are hormones in your body that cause the tendons and ligaments and muscles around your pelvic bones to relax so that you can birth the baby. And so imagine that sense of relaxation all around your pelvis. Releasing any tension all around your lower spine. Now breathe into your midsection. So right around your navel, your belly button, below it. Allow the breath to really expand your belly. And maybe a couple times. This next breath, just imagine, my yoga teacher says, all four corners of your torso. So just expanding your torso. And I suggest that you synchronize your own breath and not necessarily to mine, because I'm synchronizing my breathing around my talking. And so it's probably not the most relaxing breath. Yours is always better for you. And so as we feel that sense of relaxation moving up our torsos, let's breathe into our fingertips. All the way through our fingers and our hands. Just imagine that filling your hands full of air. And then allowing that breath, that exhale, to release them. And now your wrists and your lower arms. And your elbows. And now your upper arms. Breathe into your biceps and your triceps. Kind of inflate them. Imagine just like inflating those muscles to kind of clear out all the cobwebs. And then as you exhale, just feeling, and as you notice your hands and arms relaxing, your arms and hands get heavier, and it probably pulls your shoulders down a little, which is good. And now imagine feeling that breath filling up your rib cage, which is typically where we think we fill up when we breathe. So just fill your lungs up and allow that energy to fill up your entire rib cage. A really big breath, really big, even bigger. Hold it for a second. And feel that exhale relax the muscles in your back, your sides, all around your chest, and all the muscles that intercostal muscles around your ribs. Not sure where that word came from, somewhere deep in my memory. And breathe now into your upper chest. And my yoga teacher calls it your armpit chest. So your chest all around your armpits and your arms and your back, your shoulder blades. Breathe right in there. And let it relax. And now my favorite breath, breathe into your shoulders and maybe pull them up to your ears and feel that breath kind of expand. And as you let it go, feel your shoulders getting heavy, sliding down your back. Now breathe into your neck and the very top of your shoulders. Now Now let's breathe into the muscles right around the base of your skull. So I always think of the back, your atlas, but also the muscles that are holding your head up. Just breathe into them for a second, and if you want to, kind of roll your head around. And I don't know if yours crunches as much as mine does. And now imagine breathing into your head, like filling up your brain with wonderful oxygen. And as you let it go, imagine clearing the cobwebs out of your brain. There we go, nice and relaxed now. So let's think about listening, and I apologize. My neighbor decided today was a good day to power wash his deck, and I hope that my voice is louder to you than the power washing is, and if not, I apologize. It's just such a perfect time for me to do meditation because it's still cool out. It's going to be almost 100 degrees today. It's fairly cool right now. So let's listen for a second. If you want to listen to him power washing, if you can hear the birds, or maybe there's some wonderful sounds in your room or your house or your patio or deck. And think about the ways that we hear the voice of the infinite. One of my favorite ways is through the words of others. You know, whether for you it's the words that come through my meditations. Sometimes that's true for me as well, because I've mentioned that I channel them, which means that I tune into that still small voice. You know, that I've got a lot of practice because that's what I do for my profession. And then I listen. And I just tell you whatever it is that I feel I'm being led to tell you. And so sometimes we hear that in the words of others. You know, we can hear it on the internet. We can hear it through the videos that we watch on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. You know, sometimes some of the most encouraging, loving words are said in those places. So think about the kindness of others. Words of acknowledgement or encouragement or affirmation is one of my love languages, obviously. And so think about the kind things that people have said to me. And I really believe there's no point in remembering the unkind things that people have said. And I know that we all, you know, kind of have a tendency to beat ourselves up, at least most people I know do. And that one, you know, you could hear 99 wonderful, loving things, and that one message that was negative just sticks. So I invite you to let it go. Let's imagine with this next breath that we send this kind of divine lubricant and unstick those negative messages and just let them go. And know that all of the words that other people say are about them. So when you say kind things about other people, when you notice beauty or love or kindness or blessings in someone else, it's because those things reside in you, because you are beautiful and kind and loving, thoughtful, caring, considerate. You really are. And sometimes those words that we hear, it's just a feeling, a sense. There it is. The birdie, 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 which I think is a cardinal. I don't know, I'm not a birder, an ornithologist. But it is often said that cardinals represent our loved ones who have passed away. So maybe that was a reminder to think about when we feel like someone we love is talking to us. And it's interesting because, my mother had a very difficult life and was a difficult person, and yet I have come to know, and especially with her help, that who her soul is, her infinite self, is not that damaged personality. It's not that woman who was so cruel, but this infinite loving soul. And so she has guided me and said things to me such as stop being so hard on yourself and give yourself a break. Words that she would never have said when she was on this earth. I don't think. Maybe she would have. I don't ever remember her saying it. And so when we tune in to those voices of our loved ones who have passed away, they are often much more kind or loving than maybe the person was, or wiser. And how else do we listen? We listen with our five senses. We always think about listening with our ears, but we listen with our eyes. When we read something that is relevant, that's something that really strikes us, it's sort of like listening with our eyes. When I taste something that is wonderful, this past week I made homemade ice cream with my niece who was visiting and her two children, and it was just lovely. And we made homemade ice cream and homemade fudge sauce. And when I taste those things, it reminds me to enjoy life. It reminds me to savor life. So we listen with our taste buds. And we can listen with our hands. One of the things I have noticed is that, and my father did it, I think, or I would imagine he taught me, is when we are around children, we touch them on the top of their head, we stroke their heads, with love and affection. And one of my grandsons, I was talking about my grandson, who touches the top of the baby's heads, and so much can be communicated with touch. We can communicate, but also you can get information from the universe by receiving touch. So I don't know if you noticed earlier, Daisy, my dog, came up and was pushing her head up against me, and her touch always says, I love you. And so we can hear the message of the universe with or through someone's touch. Every time I get a little grandchild reaches up to hold my hand, or even a bigger grandchild, I feel that sense of love and trust. And so we can listen with our hands, we can listen with our sense of touch, and we can listen with our sense of feeling. If somebody is full of angst, you can feel it when they show up in the room. In the same way, if someone is happy or feeling peaceful, you can sense that. During the wedding last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, my husband was the officiant, and I could feel his stress level on the way there. He was just so wanting to make everything just right, and to do a good job, and you could feel that. And then later on, after the ceremony was over and all of the things that he was required to be present for, and he could relax, it was palpable, his sense of relaxation. And so we can allow the universe to communicate through us when we tune in. How do things feel? How does someone's energy feel? And sometimes we can feel the message. Someone's biting me. by the peace. So my battery ran out, so I had to pause and charge it again. And now you can feel the sense of peace. My neighbor's finished power washing his deck. And you can feel the gentle breeze in the trees. It's significantly warmer out here, but it is much more peaceful. I'll have to take a picture of Daisy. She just passed out on the deck. She got to go to the dog park early this morning, and then a couple of grandkids, so she's pretty worn out. And it's just lovely to see how peaceful she is. So as we wrap up this meditation, I invite you to pay attention. Not just listen with your ears, but listen with your soul, with your heart, to the messages of the universe. Because the messages are always, you are beautiful, you are loved, you are loving, you are love itself. The universe is seeking to love you in every moment. And sometimes all we need to do is pause and listen and become aware. Every time you see a flower blooming, I notice my butterfly bushes are blooming, and I'll have some pictures after the meditation. Every time you see any kind of beauty in nature, it is the universe's way of saying, I love you. I'm giving you something to enjoy. So I invite you to enjoy your life and to pay attention to all the lovely messages for you. And as I do it, as I conclude every meditation, I want to remind you that you are whole and perfect exactly as you are. You don't need to change yourself to be whole and perfect. So your infinite soul is whole and perfect always, and you get to make decisions constantly about how it shows up in your human self. So the infinite presence in me honors and loves and recognizes the infinite presence in you and wishes you a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Namaste.